So tonight we have got Yvette, who is going to show us some of her paintings, and she's got some quotes that go with the paintings. So over to you, Yvette.
Can you hear me, all of you? Yeah,
we can all hear you. Yeah.
Now, because my accent, I thought it was best if you had the words with you. I don't know if you got them with you there, but anyway. So the first quote is by a poet, an American black woman poet called André Lorde. And when I read this, I thought, oh, that rings true with me. She wrote, poets give form to something in order that it can be thought. Poetry is the way we help give name to the nameless so it can be thought. And then this is when I realized this is what I do in art. I try to give form to ideas, emotions, and stories in order that they can be thought. And this one is of St. Anne's Well. And I wanted to do always a painting about Buxton. And I thought the spring of Buxton is most important. It's the heartbeat of Buxton for me. And I wanted to catch some of the people who go there. And I like this one because it's a granddad with his granddaughter going to the well, and it's as if like he's talking to her. And I liked these people. There were loads of other people came and went, and I liked them too. So because it's something to do with the generation, and the little girl is really like enjoying the water, and it's as if like granddad is talking to her about the water. So that's what this painting is about, quite straightforward. Second quote is by Albert Einstein. Yeah. And he said, look deep into nature and then you will understand everything better. So this, I have fallen in love with the Derbyshire landscape, and I particularly like the sense of space that there is here. And so all my paintings are from the landscape around here. This one is somewhere near Lime Park, near Bowstone. And so that's what it's about, is that feeling of space that I enjoyed in that painting. When I first came to England, I was dazzled by the green of the country. And I think that's something I try to capture again and again. It's, I just love the green of England. And this view is, I live in Whaley Bridge, is across the road from where I live. I can see this view from my house. I just love it. So during the lockdown, I spent quite a lot of time going around Derbyshire and trying to capture the landscape. The third quote is by Alice Walker. In nature, nothing is perfect and everything is perfect. Trees can be contorted, bent in weird ways, and they are still beautiful. And this is one of the walk that I did in the Goit Valley, and it's very close to my house. I like to do painting very close to where I live. You don't need to go far, it's all there. And there's roots of a tree, and that's what I try to capture there. And next to where I live, there's a lane, and I try to catch here the morning spring light during lockdown, just walking along the lane, again, very close to my house. The next quote is by David Attenborough, who said, the future of humanity, and indeed all life on earth, depends on us. Another quote, which will go with this painting, is from a Native American Indian who said, we don't inherit the earth from our ancestors, we borrow it from our children. This painting is a transcription of a well-known painting called Hope. In that very famous painting, the woman is listening to music, a musical instrument. And what I did is transcribe that painting, and instead there she's listening to the heartbeat of a fetus. And she joined with the umbilical cord, not only to the fetus, but to the earth. So it is a bit of a statement about climate change. That's what I'm trying, but I try to make a picture that was positive. Be prepared, the next one is not. This one is a nice one. The next one is not. This one is basically making a statement about men, mainly human beings, who've actually destroyed the earth, and it's called the violation of Gaia, or the rape of Gaia. And the man, as he's penetrating the earth and destroying it, it ejaculates into, and then there's a big scream. Scream is used quite a lot in painting, like the scream is a very well-known painting. And you might recognize some of the very famous men on that painting: Putin, Trump, the Crown Prince, Xi Jinping, and the man from Iran, and the one from North Korea. So this is a way of saying that basically the earth has been destroyed by man. And the quote that would go with that is by Margaret Mead, who said, "We won't have a society if we destroy the environment." So it is a statement about climate change. But I am a positive person, although I'm also political, and I have got the contrast between celebrating life and seeing also the destruction of human beings and what we do. I used to be a dancer, so this one, the quote is by Khalil Gibran. "Forget not that the earth delights to feel your bare feet, and the winds long to play with your hair." And I always wanted to dance in a landscape, so it's called a dancing landscape. So I did this one about that, and this one as well. They're both about dancing in the landscape and feeling the earth under the feet as we walk in the landscape. But be prepared for the next one. It's totally different. Just warning you. This one is inspired by James Baldwin, who is a Black writer, Black American writer. You might have heard of him, James Baldwin. He wrote something called, the quote is, "Not everything that is faced can be changed, but nothing can be changed until it's faced." So this is something that interests me in the painting, is to actually look at what we do. And by facing it, maybe we can change it. And this, obviously, you recognize is about George Floyd, who was killed by a policeman, who was represented there by looking like death. And it's called "The World is Watching." So I made a point about the eye watching, because this is a period where we are now in history, where everything is recorded and we can see it. You can't hide away. So this is in memory of George Floyd, that happened during a lockdown. The painter in the background is a painter who likes to paint Black men, and say that he does this to offer a voice to the voiceless. That's why it's in the background. There's a lot in this painting. It's been thought out very carefully. And it's quite a big painting. And I'm really proud of this. But I wish I hadn't had to do it. This one is also a bit gruesome. And it's about a woman who is stoned to death. And this happened in June. I haven't got the date with me here, but it was not that long ago. She was stoned to death for adultery. And I don't know if you know, but St. Stephen was also stoned to death, and it was painted by very famous painters in about the 16th century. So this is also a transcription of those painters, but putting it in a modern context. She has no blood on her, because the blood is on the men, because they're the one doing the killing. Something more positive on the 9th. Oh no, not that one. That's another bad one, sorry. Soon you'll get, I got 2 nice ones at the end, don't worry. So this one is, the quote is about somebody called Jean Jaurès, who was a very famous French socialist. And he wrote, "Courage is about seeking truth," which we need at the moment. Truth, as Obama said, we got too much truth decay, haven't we? So courage is about truth and speaking truth, not about submitting to a great triumphant lie like Trump is doing, or echoing ignorant applause or fanatical jeers with our hearts, our mouths, or our hands. And this is a story about a man who was put in solitary confinement for 18 years for his political views. The string, it connects him with us, because Amnesty International, which is a note that is written at the bottom of the painting, is linking up with him to say to hang on. So that's what the string is about. And the bowl there is because he was offered a bowl of lentils, and in the lentils there were loads of stones. And because he was an artist, he used to pick the stones out and make pictures just to occupy his time during his solitary confinement. There's quite a lot of stuff in this painting. The birds were presenting his mind and his imagination, because he came from a place where there were beautiful birds. The 9th quote is by Sanit-Exupèry, and it says, "As for the future," which is something we need to think about. "As for the future, your task is not to foresee it, but to enable it." Sanit-Exupèry is a French poet. And this is a painting of me when I was a child, and I used to dream of freedom, and I made it happen. And I used to talk to the sea, and the bird at the top of the painting is representing the freedom. The last but not least is by Rembrandt, who said, "Choose only one master, and that is nature." And this is a painting of a whole day walk in Derbyshire, starting from night to early morning to daytime to the evening. I was trying to do a painting that represented the whole day walk in Derbyshire. That's it. And
wow.
I thoroughly enjoyed it, Yvette.
Yeah.
Really good.
Yeah.
What amazing skills you have got, Yvette.
Wow.
Some of them look like almost like a photographic picture.
Yeah. But with so much thought and meaning in them. Yeah. Oh. You made me want to take up painting again, but I'd never be as good as you.
Oh, it's all about practice.
Yes. Yes, I know. I don't have time to practice.
Oh, you're a writer.
Well, of sorts, yes.
Can't be good at everything. It's difficult to dedicate the time to loads of different things, isn't it? If you're going to be good at anything, you have to make up your mind what it is going to be, isn't it?
Yeah. Yes, you do.
To perfect it, you have to just put the time, really.
But how much of that is innate ability within you, and how much of it has been by applying yourself over a period of time to get to that level of ability?
Well, I think I've only started doing this since I retired.
Really?
Yeah. I formerly came to England and trained as a nurse. And then a few years later, I became a dancer and went to dance school. So I was a dancer. And then I became the dancing nurse for a while. And then I wanted to always work with people and health. So I'll become an occupational therapist. But I always knew in the back of my mind that I wanted to paint. But because I've been a dancer, I dedicated a lot of my life to dance and in my profession. And I only started learning to paint in the last few years, but I think it's something that you know inside of you. I think it's part of it's like, if you're a writer or a musician or anything, it's in you, isn't it? Something you're born with. And then the rest is just a skill that you acquire through practicing and giving the time to, really. It's like, like with your writing, I suppose you spend quite a lot of time changing things about and moving about words, and it's a skill you acquire through time, isn't it?
Yeah, and I think that it's something that you craft as well. I've certainly noticed a difference, I think, with my first book. Just throw those words onto a piece of paper, and then this second one already, just one chapter in, I just think I've honed a few skills that I've been able to put into the writing, smoothed a few edges over, which is something that I guess you would do with your painting. You just go about it perhaps a different way as you evolve into that skill.
Yeah. Well, it's just work, really, but I feel like I will never stop learning. It's just like with your writing, I suppose, you never stop learning, do you?
Yeah, it's like everything, isn't it, in life?
I mean, like I saw recently on television a program about money, and he was still totally dissatisfied at the end of his life about what you'd done. It's like you never fully, if the day you're satisfied, that's it, isn't it? You stop. You're always trying to perfect a skill and improve, don't you? That's that, and you just hope that with time you will get better, but you're never fully satisfied. Well, I'm anyway. I always know that there's more to learn, and there's only one life.
Not enough hours in the day.
Yeah, I spend a lot of time mopping as well. I've been a housewife, I'm retired, but I look after my family here, and that takes a lot of time.
Yeah.
And like Manny was up at 6 o'clock in the morning till 8 o'clock at night, non-stop. And I was thinking, well, I haven't dedicated my life like that. He spent all his life totally dedicated to his craft, like a lot of artists.
Yeah.
And there's no way I've spent that amount of hours.
No, it sounds like we're very the same, Yvette. And I know I was talking to Mark the other day, and he was in between domestic chores as well. So exactly the same as me, actually. Emptying the washing machine and cleaning the bathroom.
Yeah.
So I think we're all similar that way.
Well, Cézanne had a cleaner.
I've got a cleaner, but still got bits to do in between. Anybody got any more questions or anything for Yvette before we move on? Well, thank you very much, Yvette. I know we've all
enjoyed sharing it with you.
Yes, thank you.